Chat, we are back. Scrim School is back. We are here. Let's go. I am beyond hyped. It has been a good little break. Hopefully everybody got their max power levels. I've missed y'all. It is amazing to see all of you people in here. Much love to everyone who showed up. Our guest to pick this back up for the first week back after Beyond Light, we're looking at Kami and Mikey, two absolute gamers. Huge, awesome people. Super wholesome. I'm looking forward to this. Let's unmute and bring them in. Yo.
Hey.
What's going down?
What is going on?
Kami is still muted.
Yeah.
Mikey, if you want, why don't you introduce yourself? Who are you, my dude?
How's it going, everyone?
Ooh, there you are.
My name is the one and only Mr. MikeyMaybach, aka Mr. Mikey May Clap. It's aka Mr. Mikey Take Me Back. Just for a little quick introduction to the people that don't know me, I stream on Twitch. I'm 29 years old. I have 3 kids. I have a fiance. But mainly what people know me for is for taking their heads in the Crucible. So if you're here and I've ever taken your head at some point in time, just know it was for content. And that's what I'm all about.
That's actually pretty solid. Yo, there's Kami.
Yes.
What is up, Kami? So Mikey just did his intro. Who are you? What do you do? What makes you tick? What's your fancy, bro?
Jeez, this is already a lot. I was not prepared. But I've been playing Destiny since beginning of D1. Didn't really bother with PvP, I guess remotely seriously until D2. And I would say for the past 3 years up until, I want to say mid-year 3, I played in almost every single tourney, came top 3 in basically all of them. Very competitive player. In terms of what makes me tick, when I can't 3-top someone because D2 hand cannon range. Let's just go with that.
I mean, anyone that has ever enjoyed the Crucible in Destiny has ever even paid attention remotely to what that whole scene is like, or has ever even been interested in it. I'm sure every single one of those people will know Kami's name.
Facts, big facts.
You know? So I think I don't even think you have to introduce yourself to a certain extent, because everybody just knows how nasty you are on a Hunter and Titan, my friend.
Thank you.
And specifically a Titan. Anyone who knows me too, like, you guys know, I do not jump on Titan. Like, I hate that class, like that whole entire Guardian in general. But when I watch Kami play a Titan in tourneys, or just in regular scrims, or just in any competitive match like that, he makes Titan look like absolute fun. And I just can't do it. It's something you can't replicate. I think Titan is one of the hardest classes to play well, especially in a very competitive setting.
Big facts. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of hyped about this. I mean, we took some breaks off. Hopefully you guys got your light level up. We kind of got adjusted to PvP as it stands. With Stasis, a lot of Elsa maneuvers. Lots and lots of ice.
Oh yeah.
I'm kind of curious to see how this goes, because I've gotten some whispers about how Facet's going to be running it. Definitely seems interesting. So we'll definitely dive into that. Oh yeah. I'm not going to say anything yet. I kind of want to see what your guys' opinions are first and foremost. Like, what I
mean, oof, man.
Yeah, so obviously it's a Scrim school, so we're going to discuss some Scrim settings. We're going to discuss, things you hope to see in the rule sets, things that you're still waiting on. Shroom is a Facet admin too. Hell yeah, let's go. That makes it a lot easier, actually.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. True Miz.
That's awesome, actually. And welcome in to everybody new that's here. We are on the road to 1,000 followers. So if you're not following, hit that follow button. We do these every week. We have 2 guests every single week. We've had some crazy guests so far. And if you are interested in getting on the ScrimCast, hit me up on Twitter, hit me up on Discord. I would love to cycle new people in each time. Most definitely get at me. We've had some awesome ones so far. So let's dive right into it. Let's talk character mains.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond Light, what is your character main? What do you enjoy the most? What's your favorite and why?
I'll let you go first, Mike.
Yeah. Everyone knows me. I'm not changing. I've been faithful to this subclass since the beta, which is Hunters. Goldie Hunters will always be my favorite, and I'll never change, no matter how many nerfs it takes. I'll never change it. I still have a lot of fun with the Hunter, even with Stasis. It's a lot of fun, man. You get the 2 little ninja shurikens that slow people. It's definitely a different play style when you have Stasis on. You can get away with some pretty good clips, with some good movement and timing. So I'll stick with my Hunter.
I dig it. Kami, what you got?
Alright, so I played basically everything, spent a fair amount of time with each class as well. I would say Titan is probably the class that I spent the least amount of time on, just simply because I don't have good Titan armor. But I would say classes I'm most likely going to be running. I'm still going to be running Hunter. Stasis Hunter is incredible, just phenomenal. It's basically what Blade Barrage could have been. And I really appreciate the slow shurikens, the fact that they ricochet. The super isn't half bad either. I've also been experimenting with Chaos Reach Warlock. There was a brief period in tourneys where I did play Top Tree Storm. People know me for the infamous clip, Arc Web. But I think it's definitely a lot harder to play Storm in this meta, more so than anything else, just simply due to the fact that not only do you have to deal with a Hunter doing a circle dodge and shotgunning you out of your super, you also deal with the fact that anyone can freeze you.
Yep.
So I opted for incredibly strong neutral game with Chaos Reach. Even if I whiff my super, or even if I get 1 kill, that's 1 free orb, and I can get my super back, within about 2-3 minutes.
Yeah, no doubt.
And then Titan is kind of self-explanatory. I think Stasis Titan is probably the best Titan has ever been. Debatably better than Bottom Tree Striker back in the day when you could, chain super for forever and also get your health back. I honestly think it's debatably better than that.
You get what you might trade off from Bottom Tree Striker, you make up for with that melee ability from Stasis, and that thing can get you into some cool situations. It can get you out of some hard ones. Like the good Titans that I've seen, man, they've made some crazy plays with shotguns and then just out of nowhere they just rocket out of there.
Oh man, dude,
with that melee ability.
The force punch is the clips that you can get off of it are absolutely hilarious.
Yep.
I've seen.
So that's what I'm saying. They get something to play with, right? Like Titans have always kind of been known to just have like the sort of jetpack movement. It's very like linear, it feels like sometimes, and now they just get a little bit added to their movement arsenal, which kind of puts them on par with Hunters and their sort of they're sort of like dodging around corners and slippery gameplay, and now and Warlocks with their dodging also. Like this gives Titans a little something to make them just as slippery as some of those other ones.
I 100% agree. Like I think that Titans are in the best spot they've ever been in, at least from a movement perspective. When you get that slide is nuts. I've tried to time people sliding corners, and it seems like it goes, bro. It just launches. Yeah.
It goes really far, right? Like, and that's what I said. Like, you can do just so much with that. Like, and you know, you still have your shield.
Yeah, absolutely.
You still have all of that. They've definitely added to the arsenal for the Titans with that one, and it becomes less about you know, abusing the 2 buffs you get with bottom tree striker, and it becomes a little bit more about thinking more in depth about how you approach situations in game.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I 100% agree. All right, so we know our mains. Let's talk things that we think are too OP right now, and things that we think could use a little bit of love.
Titans. I'm just kidding. Titans are too OP. I'm kidding. No. Maybe they could do something about Titan supers. I would say maybe. It does last kind of long.
So you think it's broken, or you think it needs a little bit of
love? I don't know. Okay, so I don't know if it's broken. Like I said, I don't play it that much. It's just from my perspective. Like you know, when a Titan has that super, like the first thing I'm telling myself is like, okay, well, I gotta run and for a long time.
Right.
You know, like I either gotta run, freeze him somehow, do something, because he's gonna be in that thing for like a good 30 seconds. It feels like.
Yeah, but you can snipe him out.
I don't know if I wouldn't know if it's OP, because it's not like it's not as strong as the striker melee, like when he's in super, where he just you know, all of that. But I don't know. What do you think, Kami?
So when it comes to Titan, I think the best thing about it is obviously the duration and mobility that you gain with it. It's kind of more or less like Titan's top tree Dawn, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't be surprised if there is an adjustment to super duration at all. I think some of the biggest issues a lot of time mains are running into is just inconsistent hit reg when it comes to the melee, when it comes to the super. And I'd much rather see a change when it comes to that. While there is a way to kind of alleviate some of that stuff, it comes down to a lot of RNG, some timing, and of course just destiny. You never know if your melee is going to hit.
Yeah. And I will say that I think that's the one thing that makes me hesitant about calling that subclass OP at the moment, is the fact that the hit reg for the super and the melee isn't as strong as striker. So that's the only thing. That's why I don't say it's completely OP. But if that thing had like fantastic hit reg or something, like I would say that'd be the strongest subclass in the game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I want to say it was Cal that figured it out, and you have to like whip your camera to a certain angle as you're meleeing to connect. Really strange.
Oh, so there's a science to it?
Works.
Oh,
yeah, there's like a science to it.
Yeah, that is a trick.
Oh, no. There's a science to it? So you're telling me if I run into Cal and he gets in that super, I just have no chance?
Yeah. I mean, that's even just the melee. Like, let me point out that I want to say Cal was the first person that at least I saw figure it out. And it's like, you have to like snap your camera up and to the right as you're meleeing, and it'll connect. But if it connects, it like force punches somebody into the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Just dunk.
Right. Would you say it's like a skill gap type of situation, or is it just like everyone
Most
can do this really
definitely.
easily? It is? Okay.
Titan has always been the class that I would say has a low barrier to entry, but just the skill ceiling, like where you can take that class, completely depends on how good and skilled you are as a player. I remember when I first started playing Titan, it was around, I think it was like towards the end of year 2, we had Kim.com tourneys and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it was because MWG wanted to snipe on Titan. And if you snipe on Titan, obviously, you know, no offense to you, but is it the best idea, especially back then when Dawnblade existed or just Stompy Hunter existed? Most certainly not.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was definitely a learning curve when it came to Titan compared to anything else, because for the longest time, I was a Hunter main. You know, I could take, you know, what I knew on Hunter, translate to Warlock. I could take what I knew on Warlock, and I had a much harder time, like, learning all the ins and outs of Titan, such as, you know, playing the shield, knowing what you can and can't slide, because you don't have those get out jail free cards as much. You don't have a rift, you don't have a dodge. And so, especially when it comes to Stasis Titan, that skill gap is more or less, I would say, the only other skill gap in this game, I guess at the high level, outside of, you know, high level Hunter, is definitely top tree Dawn. And so it's very nice to see that Titan is getting that love.
I was definitely about to say the same thing. I would absolutely classify this season's Titan as top tree Dawn last season. for the skill ceiling anyway.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of really, really cool shit you can do with it is wild. Absolutely wild.
It's made it a more fun subclass to play for people that don't have as many hours as somebody like Kami has in it, right? Kami can make any subclass look fun on that Titan, but you know, for somebody that's either new to PvP or wants to get better, or just, you know, Titan's their favorite PvE class and they wish it was their favorite PvE, you know, it's like this Stasis class is a very good like introduction to like having fun with a Titan, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
So I think that's why it is so strong, and I'm glad they made that change. I mean, I don't think it's OP like that to a certain extent. You know, some things can be frustrating sometimes, but I definitely don't find myself like, oh damn, there's a Stasis Titan in here, like we're so screwed.
Right.
As compared to like, you know, when Stasis came out on a Warlock.
Oh my god. When Stasis came out of a Warlock, that was just, as soon as he popped, you're like, well, I'm dead. This is cool.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like we're in this now, and I 100% agree. I think that's actually a great tangent to jump into. How do you guys feel about the Bungie's way of hot fixing? Actually, let's talk about that. Like, how do you?
Are we sure that's Bungie? Like,
bro, that's what I said. Like when I saw that they were
sure?
putting one out immediately, I was like, "Who are you?" And
I was
what
like,
have you done with Bungie?
yeah, did they sell the company and there's some new leadership somewhere? Like, epiphanies happen? Like, I don't know. That was great, honestly.
Fine tune, like listen to the community. It was wild, absolutely wild.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
It definitely caught me off guard,
Right.
especially given Bungie's previous track record, whether it's in D2, D1.
Give me 90 days to test
Yeah.
it out, and then
the
Yeah,
whole 1
you know,
year
I
when
didn't
I
really-
asked, like,
I didn't expect to see a change until probably next season.
I mean, I was expecting a change, but I was expecting it to wait till like after first week of trials when everybody lost their minds. That's kind of where I was thinking it was.
I don't know how much people were playing, you know, PvP during that beginning period without the changes, and you know, I'm sure there was a lot of people, but like for the people that didn't, oh man, anyone that was watching me knew like I was ready to quit. Like I was just in a bad mood the whole time. Like I was so ready to quit. Like all my friends, I was telling my friends, I was like, yo, like I don't know if I can, like, because while I can deal with like stuff like that for a little bit, right? Or even deal with Bungie's, like in my head, I was like, I cannot like fathom, because this is gonna be in the game for like the rest of its life. I feel like, right? Like it's gonna be at least in the game for the next 3 years. It's not like they're gonna take away a whole entire subclass. And I was just when it dawned on me that Stasis could be like that for the next 3 years, I was just like, I don't know if I can stay playing Destiny like this for 3 years.
Right.
with how it was. I was just like, I was 1 day away. Like I promise you, I woke up that day actually telling myself that I will not play Destiny. And then I was at work when they announced that they made those changes. I was like, hold on, okay, wait,
Pause.
I take it back. I want to try.
Yeah. Let's reel it back. All right, let's I mean, Beyond Light's kind of the trend of this ScrimCast. So also, chat, if you have any questions, it is an open forum. Ask away. Both of these gentlemen are more than happy to answer any questions. We'll try and get to them as we can and squeeze them in as I ask my own. And as well, if you two gentlemen have any questions, feel free to interject and ask them. This is kind of just the conversation piece. The way this works out is, for those of you that are new, the first hour-ish is the chatting portion, the interviews, the conversation pieces. The second hour-ish is practical scrims on maps of the week. And then hopefully, ultimately, we try and get newer players in that get to learn from these two goats. That's the huge goal. Is to try and get newer players in here, sit down with these two gentlemen that you don't usually get to play with very often. So get to ask them their questions, you know, ask them their little tips and tricks.
Can we get Panda to 1v1 me? Bro, I promise you don't want that smoke, fam. I promise you. I'm sure Kami can say the same. You don't want that kind of smoke.
Nah. I mean, I want
is
it
very
just for
daunting.
I want it just for to say I did. Like,
Yeah.
I always get hyped when I run into these goats and like comp and stuff. I'm like, I'm about to get ran, but this is gonna be so much fun. like when I run into Crit or if I run into like Pure Chill or Benny or any of those guys in the morning streams, I always am like, well, I'm about to get ran, but we're gonna have a blast with this.
I might take away something from this, right? Like
Yeah.
I think that's how I looked at it too when I was the biggest of gyms in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Is like when I decided to tell myself like I'm gonna put in the time and I'm gonna put in the effort, because it takes more than just time. You actually have to like want to get better, and you have to actually like implement changes that you might notice. And when I told myself that, I was like, there's the only way that this is gonna happen is if I get ran over and over and over by good players, to the point where I start figuring out like what the real mistakes are, or what they might do slightly different that I didn't notice. And I might, like those, at that point, you have to play good players to get better. I don't think there's any other way.
Right, absolutely. I 100% agree. Let me preface this with I am not a top 100 player. I'm not a top 500 player. I'm here learning with Chad. My goal of this too is for me to learn, me to get better as well. So if you do want to hop in during the actual practical portion, let us know. We'll open it up. We'll cycle people through, because I'm here learning. I want you guys here learning too. Otherwise, we just get my normal carry partners hop in and then we run it super sweaty. So
I see Pat in the chat. He's like, I'm definitely human.
Yeah,
I'm sure you are. I'm sure you are. I mean, it's funny. You know what? Real quick, it's funny because like he says that, but like everyone kind of sees him as like a final boss, sort of, right? Like,
oh yeah,
especially in a tourney setting, they're like, well, still got to be Panda to win this tourney.
Yeah.
And I mean, that just goes to show you, like, holy crap, dude. How can somebody get that good,
This man's, I mean, it's time and skill for sure.
Yeah. Same thing with Kami.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Kami, I don't think there's
Facts.
anyone that's had to play Panda more than you have, I think, in an important setting, right?
I mean, we were either playing together or just playing against each other. It was just
Right.
kind of inevitable. We would see each other finals, grand
Yeah,
finals, you name
because I
it.
think even then, like he like you guys were each other's gatekeepers for a long time.
Like whether you're
before
shotgunning or sniping, he just brought it regardless.
Yep. Always.
Yeah, that's what so it goes to show you. I mean, somebody's always at the top of their game every time. It's incredible. So
I just can't wait to see some new blood show up on the tourney scene, like how the day one raids went.
I've been a little disconnected from it too, and I would also like to see that.
I want to see some new bloods showing up in that top 2, top 3 slot. I'm not going to say top 1 because I'm pretty sure Panda just plays.
It's hard to say top 3 or top 2 also.
Right.
Like, it's hard to say that, but
let me preface this with a legit player. How's that?
Like a contender. We'll say
Yeah.
contender, right? Like somebody that they definitely bring it. And I think there's people that have made like leaps and strides to get there. I mean, who do you got? Like, who do you think, Kami, like through your years of being in pretty much almost every tourney?
So boys team has more or less kind of taken the number 1 spot, I would say. Just the dynamic duo of like Boy and Sergio. You give them any third, they're going to do well.
We actually had
even
Boy
when
on
they
here
played
last
with
week.
their OG team of Boy, Walla, Sonic, or not Sonic, but Sir Zayaru. That was a very, very tough team to play against. And back when I played with Onyx and Potato, it was always a team that, outside Panda's team, would keep it even with us, keep it competitive, and even beat us in some cases. Besides them, I would say the Remember team is also very good. I don't know what their actual roster is now, but when they were playing with Pantho, I think Leg is playing with them.
That's what I was saying. That's
team.
the people I was thinking.
Yeah, Leg's a great player. Pantho's a great player. Wyvern's on Remember too as well, right?
Yeah,
Wyvern's also a baller player. So excited.
I mean, they all
to
are. To even be up there, like to even just to even compete and say like you're keeping up, like they're absolutely insane for real. So
yeah, absolutely. All right, let's I actually saw a question. Aiden said, Kami, how do you keep your sturm so stable while you're using it? Because that's the video that we got playing today for the VOD, is you running around with a sturm in comp.
So Sturm is a hand cannon that one of my good friends, Elusive, tried to get me on board with in like I think it was like year one, so like double primary meta.
Oh my
I was
god.
like, yeah, it has the range and everything, and yeah, it has a okay time to kill. But the most important thing back then was just not, how strong a weapon was. It was just how fast a weapon killed. That's why you saw things like, Dire be used so frequently, Sunshot, Hero's Burden, Ecos SMG, Vigilance Wing, Graviton especially. So I kind of had some experience with Sturm before, but for me, it's just kind of like Sturm has the most reliable 120 recoil out of everything, so compared to Criminal Stagger, True Prophecy, Duke, it doesn't feel too different from something like Ace or Dire Promise or anything like that. And so I kind of go with that same mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've pondered it. I think I've pondered, when I watch certain players play, and this includes Kami. It's just like, do you think, Kami, that it's sort of natural for you to pick up very easily on hand cannon recoil? Because guns like Thorn, Ace, while it might not seem like it, it does have a certain pattern to it and sort of rhythm to how the recoil goes. And it's not the easiest gun to just like get it out right, just to have it look like a laser beam almost. So do you think that you subconsciously just already control it, or does it take practice?
Well, I would say it's a mix of both, right? There were definitely some people back in the day, Nafaru, you gave him any hand cannon, this guy would farm. Especially when it came to Thorn. Thorn fights were just very difficult to hold up against him. But, give me something like spare rations, I could easily compete simply because, I'm more used to that recoil. So I would just say it kind of depends on the player. Some people are going to be better
Mm-hmm.
with Ace, some people are going to be better with Thorn, some people are just that jack of all trades.
Yeah. But do you
absolutely.
think would you think it has anything to do with the recoil, or it's just on the player? So like, yeah, because I find
I
it,
would
I
probably say
as I'm using
mix of
Thorn in
both.
the video, I'm using Thorn in the video, right? But like, I don't think Thorn's the easiest hand cannon for me to use out of compared to other ones. I think it has, especially that third bullet, sort of gets out of, sometimes I lose control of it slightly, and so I wonder, I've always wondered, I was like, well, like other people make it look easy. Like, is my Thorn like is it my Thorn, or is it me? Or do people actually put in like sort of how a CS:GO player would put in time to learn a recoil? Do like other Destiny players like actually put in time to sort of learn recoils or something? Like, I'm not sure.
That was a solid question.
I mean, it kind of depends on you as a player, right? Like some
Mm-hmm.
people need that time to, I guess, get good with like whatever loadout they're using. Other people,
Yeah,
can kind of just take a gun, just go in, they're gonna farm regardless. And I
yeah,
think it depends on what works for you. Sometimes, you have a gun that you just get immediately. I remember
and
NF
it just feels
was,
good. Yeah,
especially back then, NF was a gun that, took a lot of time for people to get used to, especially going from, a Dire Promise meta, going from Ace, going to NF was definitely a very hard transition. It was so hard to the point that I was just kind of like, well, yeah, I'm decent with it, but I feel like I would be much better with Ace, and that was kind of what I stuck with for majority of year two.
Okay.
okay.
I mean, that makes
Yeah, I
sense. It
think
really
for me, I'm
does.
definitely one of those people that I've always been like that, man. Nothing in my life has ever come easy, chat. Okay? Never. I'm never lucky.
I was gonna
But
say world. Then
I have to put in
we have to
time.
learn
Like,
it.
that's just the one thing I have to put in time, to learn something. Like, it didn't just come naturally for me. And so that's why I use these guns, and I sort of challenge myself, even when hand cannons were in their worst spot, right? Like, and you could use any other gun and just outgun somebody with a better time to kill and all that, or better range. And I just sort of told myself, like, nah, man, I'm gonna challenge myself, because maybe one day it'll pay off. And it kind of did.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I 100% agree. Like, even now, I can't use Sunshot. I don't like the recoil on it. I can't hit my shots. But you can put a Dire in my hand, it's great. You can put a Thorn in my hand, it's great. There's certain guns that I can't use just because of the recoil pattern itself. I don't know what it is. It just not feel well.
By the way, that's getting nerfed. I already know that for sure. That Hunter move with the Glacier Grenade, that's getting nerfed off.
Bro,
I already
small
know
little,
that's
small
getting
little
nerfed.
tangent real quick. We were playing comp this morning, and we kept getting oh fuck, what is that map? Exodus. We kept getting Exodus Blue. We threw the rounds, but we definitely used the Glacier Grenade to get all the way up in that glitch spot. And then we sat up there. We ended up like 3-0ing them, and then we were like, you know what? Let's give it to him. Like, I stayed on the ground, and I was just getting farmed, and I was like, I don't even care. Like, the other two were up there, and then we threw the last round. It was, but I mean, that's one of those things. The Glaciers, I don't know if you should be able to use them in jumping.
They might nerf. I feel like maybe they'll do something with the fragment. Maybe they might nerf the fragment, or maybe they just might nerf the nade, or I don't know. But like, or they might nerf the air move with a cooldown or something. But yo, the fragment plus that nade plus that air move, it's a free kill.
It's pretty wild.
Absolutely free kill.
The one that sticks in my head the most is I don't know if you guys watch Bakken. Bakken threw a nade, threw the Glacier nade in the wall, launched himself 40, 50 feet in the air, and hit this beautiful jump scope on Widows. It was the most insane shot. Like, it was a flick.
I remember. I know. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Like, that man sent himself so high up there to hit that shot. It was wild.
I gotta give it to Bungie, man, because I was real skeptical at first about like what you can do with a Glacier Grenade and the certain spots in the map you can get to, but you know, it's not that easy. Like, it's not that easy, and the people that do it are very good at it, and at least all subclasses get to do it, right? And it's not just a Warlock that's all the way in the air anymore.
Right.
With
launching. So, all right, let's dive back into it. So, let's talk metas. How do y'all feel about the metas right now? I know last season was obviously very, very AR heavy. Anytime anyone was like, well, we're losing, so I'm going to switch to an AR. What do you guys think about the meta this season? Do you enjoy it more? Do you feel it's more balanced? Do you feel like it could be more balanced?
I'll let Kami answer. I don't think I've experimented with enough weapons in general to really give you an answer. Besides maybe the 120 hand cannons that feel very good, I would say it's the 120s are very, very strong.
Tommy, what you got?
So I would say that the meta is probably one of the better ones that we've had. Obviously Forsaken's kind of always going to be, my fan favorite. Highest skill gap you could ever see. Is also before. I would say Forsaken was when they actually offered trade-offs and stuff like that, because you could run in, use an F, but you don't have a quick draw shotgun, and so you get into situations where you actually have to be more conscious of when you're shotgunning and everything. And with Ace, you have a really strong primary, but you also have a quick draw hand cannon. Is it as strong as an F though? No, but I would say this is probably my second favorite meta, maybe second or third. Feels like you can really go in with like any loadout, any hand cannon, any pulse. Obviously, scouts aren't necessarily meta, but I would say that's more so of a map issue rather than a scout issue, because things like Mida are in a very, very good spot. When it comes to hand cannons, I would personally say my favorite is obviously Scrim, 120s. I would arguably say they're broken. With the Catalyst, you can hit 90s from 44 meters out, and even then you can still 3-tap from up to like 47 meters. Still be good. And, some would say, isn't that too much for a hand cannon? And, could you see a nerf in the future? I mean, I definitely think it's possible. It's not something, any of us want to think about, because it's just kind of like,
But what's the sweet spot then, Kami?
Well, the thing is at least when it comes to scrims, right? Most of your engagements don't really go beyond like 36, to 40 meters. And when you have something kind of hitting from that far out, constantly, no damage fall off, And without rangefinder, that you can
I feel
have
like 120s are the scouts of the game right now.
yeah, I would say they definitely struggle in 1-to-1, fights because yeah, you're hitting high damage, but they're gonna kill you faster up close, regardless. But when it comes to like those, I guess, longer range engagements, you're not really going to lose.
Absolutely, I 100% agree. I think this meta and this subclass change and everything else, I think it actually forces good gameplay. You can't just charge in from across the map with a shotgun out and hope that you still get your kill. You can't serpentine anymore and think you're gonna make it.
I agree.
I think it's a good spot to be in. You actually have to play your corners. You have to play smart, a little bit smarter. How do you feel about the sniper changes? How do you feel about the aim assist nerf? You guys seeing a difference? You don't run snipers?
Personally, it's encouraged me to snipe more, if anything.
Okay.
I don't
think I've felt a difference.
Who doesn't like high aim assist weapons, because I feel like it's taking away from my own like individual aim. That's why I honestly really like something like Adored, but when it came to Beloved, would you ever see me sniping at Beloved, except the like, I guess, rare exceptions where I guess like a team is just like really annoying me if like how they're playing. I'm just kind of like, well, two people can play this game. But I would say at a high level, snipers, people who are good at sniping, whether it's Lag, Boy, Sayaru, Walla, Panda, you name it, they're still going to, be incredibly good players. But are there going to be, shots where, it's just kind of like, what kind of bullshit is that? I punched him off my head. I don't think you're going to see that anywhere near as often. You'll still definitely see it, plenty of moments where you're just kind of like, that guy has to be cheating, that guy has to be cheating.
Right.
But for the most part, it's alleviated a lot of those issues where anyone could pick up a sniper and, they would just fry. In fact, it's led to some people just kind of quitting sniping as is, because it's just kind of like, they went from hitting those shots to not being able to hit a single one.
I could agree. I think you're definitely not hitting shots that you were hitting last season with Beloved, with the Adored.
Yeah,
you can feel it, and you can feel it with certain flicks. Yeah, with certain flicks, you're like, that definitely would have got that kill last season. Like I've said that.
I don't know how many times last season I said I shouldn't have hit that, or I'm 100% getting reported. Like,
do you remember the amount of videos of people that just like the shot went nowhere near the person or their head, and it's just like they still got the headshot kill somehow?
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Cam asked a question that I actually want to scroll back up to. He says, as a Warlock main that refuses to use Stasis, what is the best subclass to learn or utilize in this meta and season?
Easiest answer on my part.
Let me preface this with, he's on 30 FPS.
Does that make a difference with like certain things?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. From console to PC metas, it's a very, very different experience.
Okay.
Dawnblade's Icarus Dash on console feels really strange, and Dawnblade's Super it's optimized for PC. If you're using it on console, like, you can't turn and look well. You don't have full range to flick your heads around and check your surroundings.
I get what you're saying, yeah.
So, what would you two recommend to use?
I think Top Tree Storm's pretty good in controller hands.
Yeah, Top Tree Storm is still going to be very good. Yeah, you're going to still be seeing the issues from, just hunters and freezing. But I feel like it's a lot harder to kill a Storm on console than it was back in D1 or, on console period. Simply because you lack that versatility, like the ability to look around, if the Storm blinks behind you, you can just instantly flick, I'll shotgun him, he's dead.
Yep.
On console, that's a lot harder to pull off. And so Top Tree Storm is always going to be a safe option, always going to be a good option.
I've always liked Top Tree Storm. I don't play it a lot, but because of just how good Dawnblade was, but I've always found it to be a fun subclass. I mean, I already know Kami loves it.
Yeah.
So,
just Arc Web days.
Yeah. You might have single-handedly got that ban too.
Yeah,
I got a lot of things, man. Now that I think
Right.
about it.
I could see that. Let's talk. I mean, we're about 40 minutes in now. Chat, if you guys have some questions, feel free to ask. In the meantime, let's dive into some rule sets. Obviously, previously, we've kept these rules pretty on point with Face It. That's kind of seems the baseline for the most people that have utilized it. I know T-Show uses it. I know that when Camis did their Scrim Nights, they used it. So that's kind of our go-to on the baseline. So what do you guys think in this meta, in this will be allowed, won't be allowed? What do you think should be allowed or not?
I'll leave this one to
you go,
Cammy
Mikey.
since he's
Oh.
no you this has been your Bible. That rule set has been your Bible much longer than mine's. So I'm very curious to hear this.
I definitely think that Stasis, I was very, very against it initially. I felt more or less the exact same as you. When Stasis got introduced to the game, I saw what it did to the previous game I played, Overwatch. I loved that game, and it definitely sucked to hear that it was just bogged down by just stun abilities, things like that. And in any shooter, you never want to feel like, that gunfight wasn't my fault. You want to be able to say that, okay, I made a misplay here, I made a misplay there. With Stasis, you couldn't really say that. It was just kind of like, oh, well, I'm frozen for 5 seconds. Unlucky.
Yeah, just
So-
is what it is.
With the adjustment, I definitely think, and even some brief experience, just, did a couple scrims for a couple hours about a week ago with the new changes. One Stasis should definitely be looked into, experimented upon, and people should be able to kind of judge from there. I think Cold Snap, definitely kind of a no-no. Yeah, it's only a 2-second freeze, but it's kind of like an arc bolt. And you know how insane arc bolts are, and their chaining capabilities. The last thing I want to see is a tourney, it's like 30-30, someone throws a nade, gets a 3-piece chain, people are going to be screaming, but it's just kind of like, well, damn. But Dustfield, it's kind of self-explanatory. I don't like the idea not even the idea, just the concept that pulls you away from gunfights, You're a little too close to it, you get pulled out of, cover, and more or less forced into an engagement that you yourself weren't necessarily ready for. So I think the only one that you're realistically going to see potentially, I guess, experimented with and allowed is going to be the Glacier Grenade. Yeah, you can do a lot of crazy things with it. Yeah, it can freeze people for a long period of time, but it's kind of like, it's a lot harder to aim.
It's not the easiest to land out of any of them either.
Right.
I find it kind of difficult to get it like right on somebody.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So-
I think my thought on it is definitely Cold Snap. Not a fan. Even with the breakouts, it made it a lot better. I think the chaining capabilities of it and being able to just bounce from one layer to the next one is still a little tough. As far as in a scrim setting, in like a comp and a trials and things like that, people are launching these nades from across the map, and you have plenty of time to break out and get away and survive. I'd like to see the same changes to the other grenades, at least from the freezing aspect. I'd like to see them reduced down to a 1.5 like Cold Snap was. But sorry, I got distracted for a second. As far as what I see for Stasis in scrims, I think it should be allowed. I think all 3 classes should be allowed, with the caveat you can only have 1 per team.
Yeah,
I think that's the direction that the people at Face It were more than likely going to go. I feel like when you have more than one Stasis subclass, it just becomes really hectic, and it's more
feels like
more or
mayhem.
less a battle
Yeah.
between Brozone and Elsa trying to
Yeah.
come out. Let's see who's the best. So I think one Stasis is definitely fine, and you're definitely going to see people running things like Stasis Titan, Stasis Hunter. I don't really think Stasis Warlock's
I
going to
think
get that
you'll
much
see
play
more
time.
Stasis. I think you'll see Stasis Titans a lot,
I can see it for sure. Absolutely.
especially in 3v3s. That Titan is great, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is, but it's also really beatable. If you hear him pop,
Mhm.
because it obviously makes a very, very specific sound. It's the most obvious of the sounds from the new ones.
But I'm definitely
you guys
agreeing
can
with
sit
Kami.
back
I
and
think
team shot.
from what I've played in survival, at least in 3v3 and the little bit of friendly scrims that I've done, like 3 stasis on each team, it literally feels like mayhem. And not like, and I mean like the playlist. Like it just feels like it's such a like you're just dying to abilities half the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also slows down the game like very, very large amount when you're doing 3 stasis, because with just one, yeah, you have to be a bit more cautious about your movement, you know, your plays and stuff like that, because you don't want to cost your team a life because you got frozen, because you peaked a angle or ego challenge something.
Right, exactly. No, but I am drinking Larceny bourbon, small batch, to answer your question. And then back to it. I 100% agree. I don't think we should ban a new subclass from scrims. I don't. I think that it was added into the game. I think it's a lot of fun, and it's playable.
No.
It really is. My concern with the Glacier Wall is slowing down the rounds. You know, if you're on a map where like Jab and they're in Diamond Door, you can throw a Glacier nade against Diamond Door and then run around the other side, and they're pinched in.
Oh, you're super weak. You just throw a grenade in front of yourself and get like at least maybe a second more of cover.
No, absolutely, exactly. That's my concern with that. I mean, obviously you can still Shatter Strike or punch into it and get through, but that's definitely
that's still a risky play because it could just literally just be waiting for you to do that.
Right.
The thing is with Hunter, if that's your own grenade, you can just shatter dive and everything. If they're even remotely close to it, they're going to die. That's a free kill.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So that's my concern, is that it'll slow it down a little bit, just from that aspect. But I think overall, one stasis person per team is fair. How do you guys feel about the new exotics? The mask, the Sid the Sloth helmet, obviously the Titan's overshield on revive doesn't really work, but
everybody knows I love the Bacchus right now.
We're watching it right now.
Yeah, the Bacchus is absolutely amazing, and I almost wish it didn't come pre-nerfed.
Right. I agree. But how do you think it's going to play out in Scrim settings, where you have higher level players that can pretty much use a blink to get behind? Do you think that's going to cause an issue?
I've seen some people use it and do something crazy with it every time. I think okay, so with hunters, the issue is like, how do you make an exotic that somebody would choose over a Dragon Shadows or Stompies? That's the big issue with Hunter in a scrim setting, because you obviously can't use Worm Husk, which is arguably the best Hunter exotic. But so then you have Stompies and Dragon Shadows, and like, how do you like, just for a blink, you know, like I don't think you'll be giving up way too much for just like one blink every 20 seconds or whatever.
It's like 23 seconds, something like that.
That's the hard part.
Kami, what do you think?
So when it comes to Hunter, I agree with Mikey completely. If Mask of Bacchus didn't come pre-nerfed and everything, I think it could definitely be up there. Just imagine, 13 seconds, Hunter's just, blinking left to right, just the outplay potential is just crazy. And even, I've had moments where I've used it, I've outplayed people incredibly. I've had people use it against me, and I get outplayed because, you kind of have to predict where that hunter's going to be. You have to think.
Right.
It's not like, Warlock Blink, where, you clearly see a travel path, you know where they're going to be. Hunter, it's, it's like your game, crossed up in basketball. You never know where he's going to be.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
I don't think it's going to be seen too much in scrims, just simply due to the fact that, as a hunter, your options usually boil down to Stompies or Dragon Shadow. Okay. Still a very good exotic, but, it's very hard to make it work because at best you have a 26-second dodge cooldown. That may not seem like a lot, but in terms of scrims, just every second counts. And, those moments where, you know, some people are just kind of like, oh, you know, get a kill, dodge. You can't really do that with Mask of Baccharis, because if you waste your dodge, you're not going to see it back for a while.
Right, and it's not a 9-second dodge like normal.
Yeah.
Where you can outplay it. How do you feel about the? Obviously, you can't use Lament or the new rocket launcher, but how do you feel about Cloud Strike? Do you think that that's going to be allowed? Do you think that's going to be held off on?
I don't see why it wouldn't be allowed. Yes, it's a 140, but I would say it's more so like a clip hitting sniper. You know, if anyone picks that up, you know, it gets a 3-piece and scrims, you know. That's basically, you know, free 1,000 likes, you know,
Right.
post on YouTube.
Right.
But I just don't think it's realistically going to be used as like a serious contender, just simply due to the fact that it's lacking to, well, the most important perk, Snapshot, and also the second most important perk, Quick Draw. And obviously that can be alleviated by, you know, Ophidian aspects. But the main issue is how does it compete against something like Beloved? How does it compete against something like Adored?
Right, absolutely. And and that's one of the upsides of scrims is light level doesn't matter. So you can run still whatever you're comfortable with, not even discounting light level. What do you feel about 120s? Do you think? Let me throw this variable out here because chat was talking about it a week or two ago. What if you have a team that's running 3 120s? Do you think that should still be fair? Do you think it's balanced? Do you think that it shouldn't happen?
The thing is that there's only, you know, 3 real competitive 120s, that being Criminals, because Criminals is getting reintroduced in a couple of weeks from Iron Banner. You can't really get Duke anymore. So that's why I'm throwing Duke out the mix in terms of things that, you know, I could recommend to somebody and say, okay, you can get this right now. You have Sturm, obviously, especially with the Catalyst. Sturm is very nasty. And you have True Prophecy. And the biggest issues with 120s, or at least the legendary counterparts, is Recoil. And you have to keep this in consideration as well. In most gunfights, you're going to deal flinch inevitably. And when you get flinched on a 120, that hurts bad.
Oh yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I think the biggest issue where 120s are going to suffer, especially, are just going to be those close range engagements and those mid range engagements. It's not like, you know, you have a 150 or a 140, so, you know, something like Sunshot or an Austringer, and you can just gun down somebody who's, you know, pushing you at very close distance with a shotgun, let's say. You can't really do that. You have to, you know, more or less commit to the special weapon counterplay and everything, and obviously with shotgun consistency, that can either work in your favor, you trade, or it just doesn't work out at all. And you also have to keep this in mind as well. Your sniper player on a 120, that makes it a lot harder to follow up those body shots with, you know, just sprint cancel, quick draw glitch, hand cannon shot, you know. So overall, I don't think you're going to see 3 120s. I see what you're saying, though. It can be very problematic, you know. You can hit 90s from all the way from Catwalk on dead cliffs, all the way from Divider. That's kind of ridiculous. That's very dangerous, very scary. But I don't think it's going to be that common. I think at most you might see 1 or 2 120s.
Well, even 2 120s is the TTK. If you're playing against a good team that can team shot together, the TTK on that's like 0.4, something like that.
Yeah, you're definitely going to get melted because they're very, very strong team shot weapons. I think if there is to be any, I guess, rule set regarding them, you'd probably more than likely see, you know, 1 Sturm or just 1 120, period. Because I feel like with 2, you know, just it takes 90, that's 180 damage already.
Yep.
That leaves basically every single, regardless of resilience, they're going to be down to 1 shot. Now, those engagements where it's just like, oh, you know, the Dawn Blade can easily just dash out, all it takes is just, you know, 90, and your teammates to follow up just even a little bit, he's dead.
Absolutely. And all it takes is one 140 shot against 2, you know, if you have 1 140 player and 2 120 players and they all team shot together, you're insta dead.
Do you like it though, Kami?
I think So I've played in scrims basically, I would say almost every single year. Haven't really. I'm not sure if I'll touch year 4 sweats. I guess like in tourneys in that sense. But
Mm-hmm.
I would say the biggest issues that have been plaguing the Crucible since Forsaken is always the debate regarding recovery. Is 100 recovery too fast? And top tree down, like mobility, things like that. Because should a person be able to get out of a gunfight, you know, basically be one shot, you push them again, they're full health, or, they just get out of a gunfight. That was a big problem with Top Tree Dawn, is just, the sniper flies in, gets a kill, you try to push him, and he just gets out for free. And if you try to follow
You can't
up, you just
catch
get
them. Yeah.
baited by his team.
Yep.
And
Mm-hmm.
so, obviously, or do team shots suck? Most certainly. It's very annoying to know that, you're not really dying to ones, you're dying to, 1, 2, 3 players, because, the 120 player decides to flank, you get dinked for 90, and then, all it takes is just someone to clean you up with, Bellwinters, or just, 2 hand cannon shots. You're kind of
Yeah.
dead.
Yep.
And so that's kind of like, it depends on your perspective, right?
Yeah.
Do you want the game to be slower for people to be able to kind of get out free, barely take any damage? Or should people be punished for, those misplays and everything?
Yeah. I think if you don't, but if like think of like the devil's advocate. If you don't have 100 recovery, can you really play fast? Do you think?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. That was the debate that a lot of people got into, when it came to should we allow high recov, should we, disallow it? Is that despite all the downsides of, I guess, the slowness of the game, just, it's annoying to push a gunfight and he's, 100 HP already, you thought he was 1. Yeah, but also speeds up the game a lot more because you can re-challenge a lot faster.
Right.
I've noticed when I
I
played
get it.
against
Yeah.
people, or, just played a full or recov, it's a lot more frustrating to play engagements because, my teammates challenging, I'm just kind of like, I'm still regenning, I can't help. With 100 recov, it's maybe 1 to 2 seconds of downtime. I can even push out early. Let's just say they decide to ego challenge again, I can take a shot and still be okay. Meanwhile, if
Yeah.
I decide to push out like, 4, 5, 6 recov, that one shot is just what's going to kill me.
Absolutely.
I-
Absolutely.
I currently don't play on 100 recov either.
Okay. That's actually a great
And
question. Let's dive into this tangent actually. Sorry to interrupt, Mikey, but
no,
you
you're
actually
good.
made a
Go
really good
ahead.
point. What do you guys feel is the optimal stats? For
I
each
think 100
class?
recov is a crutch, in my opinion, and like that might be a little like people might think that's a little drastic, but like if you remember some of the best metas, like 100 recov had nothing to do with it, you know. And if you go
Mhm.
back to year 1, regeneration was the same. So if people have gotten so used to 100 recov now, and while I think Kami made a point, I think while they might think 100 recov speeds it up, and because people think like, oh, I regen faster, so maybe I get to but I think Kami has a very good point. I don't play on it, because one, like the changes that they've made to the mods, plus the nerf on the hunter dodge, I have to choose whether I want to run 100 mobility.
Mhm.
And right now I feel like as a hunter I need 100 mobility percent. And while I can, yes, have 100 recov with 100 mobility, that is very possible. I would give up a lot, especially when playing against Stasis. I give up, resilience. I give up, nades, maybe in a super. So I was sort of like, well, I'm gonna balance that out. I'd rather have a strong neutral game, regardless, with even if just in case I am using Stasis or whatnot, and give up some recovery time.
Sure. That makes sense. Kami, what you got? And then chat has a question.
So on Hunter, I decided to change my stats up a little bit. I used to run 5, 6, 10, 7, 5, or 7, 4, I don't remember. Now with Stasis being introduced and also some of the changes to Hunter Dodge, which was kind of a nerf to things like Worm Husk, things like Dragon Shadow, I decided to raise up my mobility by 1. So right now I'm rocking 6, 6, 10, 8, 5, 6. Very, very scary build.
Okay.
On Warlock, still more or less rocking the same thing. On Titan, I've invested a bit more into
You can see our
strength.
stats on the stream right now.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. That was funny.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
No,
But
it
yeah.
makes sense though, because you can see it, but having it explained actually makes a lot more sense. Because the go-to before was low mobility on Hunter and not Hunter and Warlock, but Titan and Warlock, and high Breezil and Recub, and had to have 10 mobility on Hunter. That was the kind of the baseline that everybody believed in. So it's kind of cool to hear an explanation of why you don't run that.
I mean, with Dragon Shadow, you already kind of get that +5 mobility boost, so you're already kind of running max mobility. Especially back when I used to main Arc Staff, I could run 5 mobility, proc Dragon Shadow, and because of focus breathing, I'll get my dodge back before, the Dragon Shadow perk goes away. And so because of the 4 seconds, I've had to kind of compensate for that, increase, my dodge cooldown just a little bit. Or decrease it a little bit, my bad. So I can actually see similar benefits. It also allows me to run Dragon Shadow things like, Spectral Blade or Stasis. And still not feel like, I'm completely nerfed or feel like, oh, I won't have my dodge up, I made a misplay and everything. I would say for the most part, the changes haven't really affected me. Like the 4-second dodge cooldown or anything. But once again, I kind of optimize my build to counteract it.
Okay.
Yeah. I think for me, I have to have the mobility. Like I need the 100 mobility. One, because I don't really main Dragon Shadows. Especially right now, I'm strictly sticking to like Stompies and Bacchus. And with Bacchus, like I absolutely need 100 mobility. And with Stompies, another thing is I don't personally trust like invisible stats. So like even if I did run Dragon Shadows, like I'm still at 100 mobility.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yep. Sure. So chat is Bro asked, do you think resilience allows you to win more shotgun fights, etc.?
So definitely pre-nerf, like shotguns. Back when Mindbender's up top, if a person had a 5 out of 5, you didn't, especially if you had slide shot as well. That would kind of be the difference between whether you would live or die. Probably one of the best shotgunners. Well, my top 3 would be Onyx, Walla, Red. You can throw Sonic in there as well, but Sonic does both. Give Sonic anything, he'll be good. But when I would get into a shotgun fight with Red, this man would, either he would map him or he would map you. And the thing that made things a bit better was just having 6 Rezo. 6 Rezo was a counter to Thorn and also counter to, the Mindbender's map, because they would have to hit like 1 more pellet. And that 1 more pellet can basically be the difference between, whether you win or lose a fight. And you flash forward, we get Fellwinters, everyone kind of has, a god shoddy. I would say 6 Rezo still helps me out in certain situations. There are times where I'm just kind of like, would I have survived that if I didn't have it, I cross-map this guy leaves me down to basically, 1-2 shot and everything. And so even if you don't believe in it... Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I want to finish. I want to hear what you just about to say.
I was just going to say, even if you don't believe, and, whether or not it would make a difference, I think it's better to be safe than sorry. 6 Rezo just offers a lot of coverage, whether it comes to things like 120s, where they need to do 2 head, 1 body instead of 1 head, 2 body. Thorn still, and also for me personally, can cover me from getting mapped. I mean, does it still happen? Of course, but not as often, I would say.
Okay. I think it's been theorized a lot, right? And now that you're saying it, I've never been the type to run 6 resilience until recently. I've always opted for max recovery, max mobility, and in some type of decent neutral game while having like resilience at 1 type of thing, Yeah. So now that I think about it, I always got mapped before. I'm not getting mapped as much now.
I mean, Bungie actually went out and said that Rezel is going to matter a ton this season. In PvP, in PvE, at least as far as Stasis is concerned, and breaking out of ice, the higher your Rezel is, the less damage you take as you break out of ice.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's
it's exactly why I changed it.
Yeah, I mean, if it plays in with ice that way, obviously it'll play in with the other weapon loadouts as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to use 6 resilience now, and shotgunning feels good on it. I mean, while I don't have the recovery, I don't know. I gotta play scrims more with 7 recovery to see like how much of a disadvantage I'm in, really. But as far as quick play goes, I die anyways because I just go in there brain dead half the time. But I have been able to live through some things, man, and I'm wondering if it's the 6 resilience.
Right. No, so it makes sense. It really does. We got 1 or 2 chat. We'll have enough time for 1 or 2 more questions, and then we'll jump into the practical portion. I know a couple of the sweatier players in my chat really want to fly in with their tourney teams and see how they hold up against you two. And by that means Peace and Kana. Both
oh my
players.
God.
They always.
Oh my God.
The routine is they always jump in for the first game. We run it out, and then we pick up actual people to play. And if we can get enough, the goal is to split you two up so you guys can teach separately. And you guys can explain, and then I'll jump back and forth between the teams each round. So
it's funny, Kami, you say that you're sort of like favorite shotgunners are sort of close to mine, except I have you included in my list, and you have somebody else completely.
I would say the reason why I don't ever include myself in like any type of like top 10 list or anything, I think it's kind of like egotistical. I understand it's good.
It is, but you know, hey, go for it, dude. You know, like I think maybe like I think you've proven it. You know, I think I
would say if I continued playing, definitely.
Think about it though. Like how many times were you top 2 throughout all of like like I think you've proven it.
I mean, yeah.
You could give yourself some credit for sure. You could definitely give yourself a top 10, dude, at least, you know?
Right? I mean, at least if I still played, I would, at least consider it. But I think a lot of the, if someone had to ask me, what would my top 10 list be, it would obviously be, people who were consistently at the top. So, Boy, Sergio, Walla. You can also put, Wyvern and Leg up there as well. Antho. Antho's really proven himself.
I'm talking about shotgunner specifically, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think Red, bro. Guys, Red is really good as a shotgunner.
So let me preface that with the only couple times that Peace has lost consistently every single time was the week that we had Red on with Rezo, and the week that we had Boy on with Maddox.
Yeah,
and
Red has quickly. I didn't have him in my top 3, but I almost have him in my top 1. Like he's almost my top favorite shotgunner to watch at this point. But between, I would say since he uses a shotgun a lot, I have him as like one of my favorite shotgunners to watch, and like sort of like try to see if I can delve into their mind a little bit while they play, and see what they're thinking, and like just try to see what I can get out of it, because. Dude, he's so good. Him, Walla, even though Walla's like rarely shotgunning and rarely shotgunning seriously, so you rarely get anything from him. And I used to have Kami on that list. I still do. If Kami streams, he knows I'm there.
I like that. Did you hear that? I used to have him on the list, but
he doesn't stream as much now. I was like I'm sorry.
Tommy,
he was nasty with a Titan and a shotgun, dude. I've never seen somebody switch as fast as he does. Like, I don't know. You guys know something, right? Like, you guys know something. It's more than just like a quick draw glitch or like you know what I mean? Like, they know a little something more, I think. Right. Like, because their shotgun comes out so incredibly fast. And it looks like they're not moving. I don't know. We'll see.
Absolutely.
I'm ready, though. I'm ready. If Peace wants some hands, he can get some hands.
Yeah. Peace is He's a good player. So is Kana. These guys like to, anytime I go, I'm doing Face It. All of a sudden, I see them in a 3-stack in the queue. They're like, oh, Bobby's nuts. Bobby's insane. Pick him up. And then the rando picks me up. I'm like, well, here we go.
Oh, they're absolutely trolling you, my friend.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I'm like, I'm just here vibing. I 1v1 piece a lot. He helps me out with comp help and trials help and stuff like that.
Now, should we allow some Stasis gameplay?
That's the next question I was going into.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask you guys. What do you think? Should we allow? I mean, obviously, should we allow one Stasis? Let's be very, very specific on that. Should we allow one Stasis per team? No cold snap.
I'd be okay with a Stasis Titan.
I'd be okay with Stasis Hunter or Titan. Obviously, I prefer Glacier Grenade, but
yeah, we're yeah, definitely.
I'm down to experiment with anything.
You're not using cold snap, no Dustfield in my lobby, dude.
I absolutely.
Like, that's not happening.
Really, you think Duskfield should be banned?
That's
I
a free kill on a hunter.
I mean, yeah,
Yes and no.
I don't like the idea that you kind of get pulled into it, even if you're kind of out the range. I understand why Bungie has it coded like that. It'd be a lot harder to get that well-placed grenade and everything. Obviously, it'd feel really rewarding to get someone stuck in that zone, but I understand why it kind of pulls people into the zone. It just would be very frustrating, whether it's in trials, comp, and threes at that, to, you know, so I'm like, okay, you know, you're sliding away from a gunfight, you get pulled back in, and then you get shotgun.
So it's going to be used in trials. 100%. This Friday, we're going to see a shit ton of Stasis. We really are. I would be very surprised if we didn't. But I don't know from a scrim setting. I mean, the way I see it, it's not.
I'm down to watch. I'm down to try it. I think it should be one subclass. Anything but a warlock, I think.
Okay. Anything but I don't think warlock's broken anymore. Call me crazy. It's not.
It all. I mean, I don't think it's broken either, but I think it's just more of like what keeps it like more about the gunplay rather than the abilities, you know?
Sure, absolutely.
That's just my thing.
No, it totally makes sense.
I guess warlocks could be allowed. I mean, I'd rather. The thing is, like, I don't want to deal with like one warlock on Dawnblade and then another on Stasis. You know what I mean? So like, if you at least take one of those away and then force them to either use Dawnblade or Stasis, I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. But if the other team has two warlocks, one's a Dawnblade, one's Stasis, like, you know, that's gonna get hard.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, one per team. You kind of have to play it out with your team to figure out who can use it. You know.
But by that rule set, you can have two warlocks.
One Stasis per team. So it'd be concerning to have.
But you still get to have the two warlocks. You see, like, you're still able to run a Dawnblade Stasis team.
That's true. A Dawnblade Stasis was my concern as well. Should we preface it one subclass per class? Like, if you have a Stasis Warlock, obviously the other one can't be a Dawn. I don't know. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, you know, that's why I was just outright saying, like, I'd rather just not have a Stasis Warlock, and you can't complain because you still have Dawnblade.
Right. Kami,
yeah, fair enough. I definitely think the combination of, you know, you have melee that goes very far, you have melee that goes kind of short range and everything. Yeah, that would be definitely frustrating to deal with.
My biggest concern is getting frozen and then Celestial fired back. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, that would be very frustrating. So, you know, we can experiment if, you know, if people want to run a Dawn, they can't run a Stasis Warlock, or if they want to run a Stasis Warlock, they can't run a Dawn. You know, I would be completely fine with trying that.
Absolutely, I'm down. So one more step for you two gentlemen. If you have stream open, post all of your socials in stream. Your Twitch, your Twitter, your YouTube, your OnlyFans. And I preface that because we had Nighthawk on here, and I made it as a joke, and this man's
Oh my
actually
God,
dropped
yeah.
his OnlyFans.
Nighthawk has an OnlyFans.
Nighthawk
Wow.
has
Okay.
an OnlyFans. I think I actually
Okay.
have a Nighthawk command in my stream now. Now
Kami's OnlyFans? Oh, shit.
let me preface this with his OnlyFans is one picture of a naked mole rat.
Okay. I was
That's
That
like,
is
you had
definitely
me.
interesting.
Yeah, you had me. Like, I was.
I don't
Slightly,
remember what the command
but
is.
at the same time, scared.
Zero made it, so let me see if I can find it real quick. Because I saw it pop up and I lost my shit. I laughed so hard when he posted his OnlyFans. Where is it at?
All right, Kami. Do you like the OnlyFans, Kami? Let's be
mean-
real here.
I have to say,
Is
Very
it? Hey,
impressed.
do people use their OnlyFans as
Here it
like
is.
you know,
You
like
ready?
to promote like their channel or something? I wonder.
Not even capping. Check it out. Nighthawk OnlyFans.
Oh wow.
I swear to
Okay.
God. It's there. It
Okay.
exists. And it's up. It says feeling cute might be later. Last seen July 25th. Naked in the light. I wasn't even kidding. It is literally a naked
That's
mole rat.
funny.
That's it.
That's funny. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Kami,
this man's has one.
you gotta make one, dude.
Bro, I'm telling you. Kami, thank you for that follow, homie.
no problem.
But yeah, post all your linkage. Everything. Whatever you have that you want people to show some love to. And then chat, it is your responsibility to go hit the follow button. Go hit the sub button on YouTube. Go show some love. Everything in MikeyMaybach. Why don't you show some links so people can click it?
Fine.
Make it easier for these guys. Like, I expect chat to go show some love to each of these guests because you guys took your time to come on the stream and hang out and answer questions and play. The least that chat can do is go show love back.
For sure. For sure.
Let's go. And then chat, we are jumping into the practical portion. So we are going to go on to be right back. Gentlemen, if you guys have to use the restroom, get a drink, whatever.
Yeah. I will go get some water so you know, because this is about to be drenched.
Most death. And then chat, if you have any questions, the guys can still see it and answer in Be Right Back screen. So if you have some questions, feel free to ask them. Otherwise, we will pick it back up in a minute.